thank you for joining me for this week's Mocktails with Harry, where we're making the Frozen Raspberry Cheesecake. I'm Harimarie, and you can follow me across social at harimarie and online at harimarie.com. So I'm pretty excited for this mocktail this week because one, it's our first frozen mocktail, and then also because I do enjoy cheesecake. I enjoy dessert, period. So this is like a dessert cocktail, mocktail. It'll be a cocktail if you add this ingredient that I'll share with you later. So cocktail, mocktail. And if you're out having dinner and you want something sweet, something that's dessert-like, but you don't actually want an actual full dessert, you can have a beverage. So you can have a cocktail mocktail. And this is a great one that you can have if the restaurant, of course, has it. But of course, if you're home, Mocktails with Harry, this is where you're gonna get all these fun, creative, non-alcoholic drinks to make at home and be a great host or just for yourself, whatever you wanna do. But again, thanks for joining me. And so let's get into it. I'm pretty excited. So yeah, the Frozen Raspberry Cheesecake mocktail. If you like frozen drinks like frozen pineapple, which is pina colada, if you like frozen daiquiris, then you definitely enjoy this frozen raspberry cheesecake. And so our main ingredient, of course, is our raspberry. But the ingredient calls for, instead of like a whole cup and a half of real raspberries, you can substitute about a cup of real raspberries with, not a substitute. The recipe calls for raspberry seltzer. So we have our raspberry seltzer here as our main ingredient. Raspberry is our main ingredient, but we're gonna use some raspberry seltzer, and I'll also share if you want to substitute and add liquor, what kind of liquor to use. This is our first main ingredient. The second one is gonna be our fresh raspberries. You can use frozen raspberries. I actually put the raspberries in the freezer, washed it, put it in the freezer, and then they got, hard as frozen raspberries, as bagged frozen raspberries. So that's what you can do if you prefer just to use fresh raspberries, if it's like a spur of the moment thing and you want to if you don't want to buy the frozen raspberries. Those are your two options. We have our vanilla extract, of course, to add some zhuzh to the mocktail. Of course, cheesecake. Need some cream cheese. So we have our cream cheese here, and our sweetener we're gonna use is going to be, I'm gonna use agave. You're welcome to use sugar, you're welcome to use honey, you're welcome to use any sweetener that you prefer based on your health or your preferences. I like agave. Really and truly, at the end of it all, we're trying to save the planet. The planet doesn't really need saving because when she's ready, she's gonna just kick us off. But I stopped using honey because I read somewhere that it wasn't as healthy as agave, but then again, I think agave is actually not as healthy as honey, but also we're killing the bees in the way that the bees are harvested and then killed and harvested just to make honey, and we really need the bees for the flowers and a whole bunch of other things. But agave is no different because we're actually growing agave. It takes 12 years for cacti to actually grow. So, at the rate that we're actually cutting down cacti, I'm not sure we're replanting them and they're growing as fast. I guess it's another topic that I won't even bring up today, about farm raising, plant harvesting, things not being well crafted. Won't get into it today. But yeah, so we're ready to rock and roll. And of course we need our main tool, which is our blender. I actually have been using this as my shaker because Mocktails with Harry is also about using your home utensils to make mocktails. So this is my shaker for one episode. But really and truly, you shouldn't really be shaking your mocktail with ice in a glass of anything because you can actually you could possibly chip the glass and then it gets into your drink, and that's not healthy and you don't want that to happen to you. So Don't use glass as your cocktail shaker. All right, let's start. So the recipe calls for 8 ounces of raspberry seltzer, only because 2 of those ounces, if you were to add vodka, a raspberry flavored vodka, it would be 2 ounces and 6 ounces of raspberry seltzer. I'm actually just gonna use in this episode, because I'm gonna be testing things out as well too. I'm gonna use less raspberry seltzer, so I'm gonna use 6 ounces. But if you had vodka, raspberry vodka, you could add 2 ounces of raspberry vodka and 6 ounces of raspberry seltzer. Sorry, I forgot my jigger. So right, the jigger. This bigger side is 2 ounces and this side is 1 ounce. I'm gonna use 3 pours of the 2 ounce side of my jigger. So that's 2 ounces, 4 ounces, and 6 ounces there. Awesome. If you want to add vodka, which is a good alcohol for this mocktail, to bring it to a cocktail, use vodka. I always try to find like a raspberry flavored vodka so that it can keep in theme and add more flavor to it. So yeah, we got that. And we're gonna add about a half a cup of frozen raspberries. Now we're gonna go to our vanilla extract. Oh, it just smells so good. We're gonna use half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, okay? Don't want to overpower the mocktail with too much vanilla. It's all about the raspberry. And we're gonna use 2 teaspoons of our cream cheese. This will make it creamy. Again, you can use vegan cream cheese or vegan cream cheese. Because it's supposed to be cream cheese. It's supposed to be cream cheese like, cheesecake like. This is really my spoon to help me when I'm blending things. Again, don't mind me. Then we're gonna add our sweetener. It calls for 3 teaspoons. I'm gonna be a little generous. Because again, agave is light. If it were honey, it might be a little bit sweeter. But agave is light, so I might just like throw like a little pinch in there somewhere. I'm gonna get my ice. So it says 6 ice cubes. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. I add one in there for good luck. Let's get this blending. Excuse the noise. Oh, I should probably plug that in, right? You don't want it too liquidy because it's supposed to be like a frozen drink, and you don't want like a smoothie. So smoothie meaning smooth. So here we go. Ooh, do you just see that? Oh my god, yes. So if it sometimes just naturally it'll separate, and there's this thing that's I still refuse to like get the name of it, but it's called xanthan gum. You can find it in your baking aisle section in the supermarket, and it'll help with separating with any of your drinks that do naturally separate. I'm gonna garnish with my raspberry. Using a toothpick, gonna add 3 raspberries on here, make it look cute. Make it look cute. Got a little baby one there. I'm gonna just lay it on the side right there. Right? Just on the side, cute. And voila, we have our frozen raspberry cheesecake mocktail. Cheers! Oh yeah. I clearly like it. Yeah, I would definitely use less seltzer than the recipe calls for. And just throw a little bit more agave in there if you like to use agave. But 3 teaspoons of honey would be really good. But it's really balanced. It's not too sweet. It's light. It's cool. It's delicious. It really is delicious. Yeah. So there we go. There's our frozen raspberry cheesecake. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Mothers with Harry, where we created the frozen raspberry cheesecake, and we do so every Thursday. Don't know what we're gonna do next week, but let's see. So you can definitely follow me across social at Harry Marie.